Hey, hoes, welcome home.
Hey guys, welcome to another podcast. We're back this week and we're really excited that you guys are here with us. So, to start us off and to get the ball rolling, we've received a lot of comments and requests on on some hot takes about self-care. So, we're going to delve into that. So, yeah, does anyone have any ways that they take care of themselves that isn't really normal?
So, like, hot takes.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think that, like, having a little bit too much fun sometimes is a way to self-care. Like, having a night to regret. It's
Okay.
like I wouldn't say like drinking specifically, but like going out with your friends and making mistakes that you wouldn't obviously do in a
Right mind.
that also sounds like I'm not
Yeah.
like I'm not sober, but like making mistakes that you know you'll regret. Something
But
like
you'll
that.
feel better after that?
Or just like taking risks.
Yeah,
in the
taking
moment.
risks. Like I think it's healing in general because it's like you're not sitting inside of a box of like homework, water, pooping, peeing, sleeping, food.
So like you like the adrenaline of it all after.
Yeah.
I think making memories is a good idea. But the whole like doing something you'll regret, I think the concept of that is hard for me to go into immediately with knowing that in the future I might regret it. But one hot take that I would say is bed rotting, because sometimes just sitting on your bed and wasting your time is just such a way to get your mind back in the state and out of like all the drama that's going on.
I don't know. I kind of disagree with that just because if I'm not doing anything, I'll just get more stressed out. It's also like, even with like napping, like some people wake up and they feel like so refreshed. Like I just feel like I feel worse. But I don't know if that's just me.
I agree with that. I think that there's like nothing that I can do that's not productive and I'll feel better after.
Yeah.
I disagree because when it comes to taking a nap, at least, I think if I'm tired and I want to take a nap, if I don't end up taking that nap during that time, I will just feel sad and deprived of it. Once I take the nap, I become to feel like relieved and like ready to be productive after. And I think at the end, I'll be more productive.
I think these like hot takes of self-care are obviously considered in times where you don't have like an extreme amount of work to do. Like obviously the normal things are like, oh, taking a bath, like oh, taking a nap. Like those things are already taken into account of using free time. So let's assume you already have free time. I'm not taking away from your homework time or anything. So you should not be stressed that you're going into not free time zone or something like this. So if I told you like you have full free time amount, what's like something unhinged that would help you go into self-care? That's not just like, I don't know, like taking a nap or like taking a shower, things like that.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Like, I feel like if I did have the time, then I wouldn't feel bad about all this stuff. So I can't think off the top of my head like what like unhinged stuff that I do. But I mean, I understand the whole bed rotting aspect of that. I think that if I'm in a state where I need to be like de-stressed because I have a lot, maybe that's not the best option. But if it's just a regular like self-care thing to do, then yeah, it makes sense just to take time for yourself and like, just be by yourself.
One thing that I do when I'm bored and I just have free time is I just like eat. Like I just mindlessly eat. Yeah, like I binge eat. And it's not even because I'm hungry, it's just because my mind wants to do something and like my mind like it just like transfers to my mouth and so I just start eating everything in sight. Like actually.
I don't know. I feel like I'm like that, but it's just like I can tell that I'm just bored. Like I'm just bored eating, and I'm just like just eating random things, and it's not even like satisfying, I guess.
I think it happens to me a lot when I'm in the apartment because I'm just like right in within access of so much food. So even if I'm not hungry, if I'm just watching TV, it's nice to have a little snack. So to your point, I don't think you're binge eating in a bad way. I think you're just enjoying food.
Yeah, I don't think that like maybe it's not like a bad thing. I just think that like or even like a bored thing. I like we're just talking about unhinged way to let loose. So obviously like she finds like extreme fun in eating. So like
Yeah.
Now you're just making me sound like I'm an obese individual who just eats at any inconvenience.
I'm not.
I'm saying
that.
when I'm bored, I don't like to rot or anything. I like to sit on the couch and eat.
But we're not talking about bored right now. We're talking about things you do specifically to make yourself feel better.
Okay, well, I don't feel like I feel better while I'm doing it because it's something to do. But after I feel terrible. So I guess that's not I guess I just
That's
completely
counterproductive.
But it's just something that I do.
But it makes you feel better.
while I'm doing it.
Yeah.
Correct.
So that goes to the same point where Nikki was
yeah.
talking about doing things you'll regret,
Yeah.
because it's fun in the moment, but you'll regret it after.
Yeah. Okay. So next we're gonna kind of talk about something that we talked about in like a previous podcast, but I don't think we fully dove deep into that. So we're gonna like answer the question on if the ick exists and like what is the actual psychology behind that, and like why do we react the way that we do when certain things like a guy running with a backpack on, like it's an ick, but like why do we think that? Like, is it just societal
Right.
norms?
Wait, do you think like icks are just like things that you just don't like the person enough? Like, or do you think it means it's like, is it because like the new society, it's like women are trying to, like, we hate men and it's like that whole thing. So it's like, do you think it's like pressure from outside where it's like I don't even want to like this guy, so I'm just gonna make up shit to not like him?
I think more than that, it's just thinking too much about what other people say. And that's like one situation where you're just a guy running with a backpack, someone else might make fun of them, and you just don't want to. I don't know. So you kind of just go with them.
To answer the question, like short, I don't think it exists, but it does. It's like not only what other people think of you. There's multiple reasons. Like even for like myself, if you're worried about like catching feelings too quickly, like or you're just a lot of people are like that, so they're gonna stop themselves from liking a person, whatever. So they kind of come up with different things as like a safety guard type thing.
I also don't think that it exists. I think if you are developing it for somebody, you already had that opinion of them beforehand. And these things are just things that they're doing that are setting that over the edge.
I don't agree with that, because I think it also comes from the fact if you don't know someone too well and you're just getting to know them, then certain things might just bother you. But once you fall in love with someone or just like really grow a friendship, then those icks don't really matter. So I do think it comes down to not liking someone enough.
How are we defining the word ick here? Like, is this something that makes you stop liking a person, or like how are we defining it here in this situation?
I think it's just something that you look at or someone does and you're just like what is that? Like you're just taken aback a little bit.
Yeah.
Nothing like you stop liking completely or like you're anti it at all, but it's just that's it.
Yeah.
I do think icks can exist, honestly. So like I'm impartial to this because icks do exist. Like because like Isha was saying, I don't know this person enough to defend them inside of my head. So why would I if I don't have to?
Yeah, and it's just a normal part of life. So now we're going to move on to our next segment called Sexy Time.
Hey! And we're not doing this by ourselves. We have some guests. Could you guys introduce yourselves?
Yes, my name is Gracie.
Sexpert of how many years?
I would say about 4 years.
Wow.
Just here. I'm gonna pass the microphone.
Hi guys, I'm Phoebe. I'm like a sexpert of not that recently. Probably I'd say like 6 months.
Hi, I'm Katie, and I'm a sexpert of like 1 0 day.
What? All right, I'm unsure of what she means by that, but
Okay, so how this little segment is going to work is we're going to ask you a question, and then all three of you are going to answer it in your own respective opinions, and then we're all going to have a discussion on it.
Okay, great.
So our first question is, can sex help a relationship or can it make it worse?
that's a good question. So
Thank you.
I would like to begin by saying that I think that sex is a very healthy part of a relationship. I think it doesn't always have to be there, for the most part, but I think like eventually it does need to get to that point. I think like sex is it depends, like as you might hear from Katie, like a lot of times when sex comes first, it's not as great of like a relationship. So I think like it just has to be a healthy balance of the personal connection versus the intimate connection, and they kind of go hand in hand. So you do have to have kind of a little bit of both to be successful in your relationship.
I think if you want a relationship, don't have sex first.
Before what?
Hard to say. Dating them.
Dating. Okay.
Okay, I think that there should be a bit of a basis with like a connection, but sex can really help.
Mhm.
And I think that, maybe don't rush into it too fast, but it's okay to get it going. And it can really be a bonding experience and it can be intimate and wonderful.
So to just fall back on that, do you think that if you're in an argument with someone, do you believe in angry sex?
I think that the problem that it depends on what problem it is. So for example, like, you don't want to find out that your partner has cheated on you and then have angry sex with them. But if you've just been bickering all day about stupid little things, that might be a way to connect at the end of the day. So I think it really just depends on the type of problem that you're facing and if it can be solved, but if it can be helped and like further connect you to. Like, are you just disconnected over something small, or is it a larger issue of the relationship?
I think like my personality is where like I will be petty until some situation is solved. So I don't think these kind like sex or anything could help me in a relationship because like or not in a relationship but in an argument
Mhm.
because like I want the argument to be done and like sex is not going to help that. It's just going to help divert the attention from the arguments and then the arguments are never going to be done and then it's going to be kept inside and then brought back up later and become worse.
I think the concept of sex, this might be like not the proper way to approach something, but I think sex should happen when two people are happy and like they're happy in their relationship. So if you are bickering with your partner, yeah, you guys do love each other, but I think figuring it out emotionally is like the first step before having sex.
I definitely agree. I think that a lot of people are fixers, and that's like kind of how I am. Like, I don't like to stop talking about something until it's resolved. So, personally, I'm not, always going to be so open to having sex when I'm upset about something because, who would want to? But so like people are different and every relationship is different. Like a lot of times you become disconnected and these arguments become like a problem because you are, not as intimate as you could be being and you're not as connected to your partner. And I think like it just depends person to person, but I think overall, it is a little taboo. Like people like to say, like, "Oh, you shouldn't have sex if you're mad," or "You shouldn't," like, or people feel really strongly, like, "Oh, like that's the best way to resolve an issue." I think it's a little bit of both, and yeah, I just think that it has to be a conversation with your partner.
Yeah, like I agree with what Gracie's saying in that I don't think that it's like I don't think I'm like this where it's like completely off the table or something when you're mad, whatever. Because as long as it's not like a major issue and it's something that can be just maybe like put off or something like that, it's like not a terrible thing to do. And as long as it's not like just like you were saying, push under the rug, just forgotten about, it can like you can have sex and still bring it up like the next day or a little bit later. Like doesn't mean that it's like just ignored. In that case, I think it's okay.
But then, like, for me, if I'm doing that, it's just like you're pretending like everything's okay for 1 hour and then you're going to go back to the problem. I don't think that, like, I deserve to pretend like that when we're not actually okay.
Like you guys are okay. It's just a small little like dispute. It's not like something major happened at all. It's like, oh, I didn't. It's just a small thing, is what I'm saying. It's not because no matter what, this issue is not going to make you break up. So it's like, I don't know. That's just how I thought about it.
That's kind of what I was trying to say earlier about it depends on the like severity of the disagreement and also like intimacy versus like personal aspects of your relationship are two separate spheres. So your sexual like relationship with your partner has not been damaged, only the personal part has. So if you, I mean, obviously they should go hand in hand, they shouldn't be completely separated forever, but if like you fight over something like, oh, my partner pissed me off because he was taking too long to do something, like that type of thing, like you can talk about later or whatever, you can still have sex.
I think for me, I have an unhealthy view of this in the sense that every little thing that I'm mad about, like, I need it to be resolved. So, like, if we're gonna have sex and I'm mad during it, like, I'm not gonna be in it. Like, I want to be like
No, I agree.
focused, like, you know. So I think that like if there's a small issue, like, I'd rather just talk about it. I really like to talk things through.
It's also because like I dramatize every single thing. So like every problem I make worse in my mind. And like we both have this
Yeah.
problem. And it's just like we make everything dramatic. So I don't want to be like having like I don't think we deserve to do something that we're pretending that everything's okay when I know I'm not okay. Even if like my partner is, I'm not okay because I'm dramatic.
I agree.
I think that's why it's important to be able to separate those sometimes, because you recognize that maybe this isn't the most healthy way to like deal with my problems. Maybe I am being dramatic about certain things that have upset me, but you know, my sexual relationship is still important for you and your partner. So it could be something beneficial to just try. Like you just have to discuss it with your partner and like give it a chance in order to understand.
Okay, yeah, that was some great insight. Our next question is, how do you normalize asking questions about sex without any shame?
Phoebe?
Okay. I'm gonna say that's something you really have to work toward. Like, if we're talking about like with your friends, that's something that you all have to like grow up into doing. Like, it'll come as you age, I think. And as you all start to experience it, it'll just be more normal. And I think that with your family, that also just comes with getting older and becoming more comfortable with each other. I've never been too uncomfortable talking about it, but like certain friends bring it out of me more.
I think that with my family, I'll never talk to them about it. And with friends, like, it's definitely certain friends bring it out. And then, like,
Okay. I would say so I had sex young and I was probably like the first person, one of the first people, oh, I was definitely the first people of like my friends. Um, one of the first probably in like out of my peers at school. And I kind of like I have never been uncomfortable talking about these things. I don't know why. Just like I talk about everything. And I kind of talked about it with literally just acquaintances at school, like not even just close friends. And I think it kind of became this thing. Like I had a reputation for a while that I was like, oh, like freaky or whatever. Like people would say that shit about me. And that I like, I don't know. I'm looking back, I think that's crazy because I was a young person exploring their sexuality, and I think it should have been embraced a little bit more. I don't think it should have been labeled as like being like so freaked out because I was young and stuff. But now I am like definitely the most comfortable talking. I always probably have been, and I think it's so important to talk about it because those things shouldn't happen, and kids who are experiencing it shouldn't, who maybe aren't as open as me, they shouldn't feel alone and they shouldn't feel like made fun of because of that, because it's a normal thing.
I think I kind of had like the similar situation in which I was one of the first, but not that this was a good thing, but I think I felt like the opposite way, as in like I was more like embarrassed.
I think like the way we were raised was much different than the way you guys were raised. Like we were surrounded around people who were just judgy. Like everything we were done, like everything we did was watched. And like maybe it's different with like brown people, but like they're just so much more judging. We have like a different timeline for everything. So it's like if you don't do this, this, and this after marriage, it's like like
Well, I mean, definitely part of it is like part of our culture. It is like we shouldn't do it this early, but even amongst my friends, like I just felt like it's like embarrassing. Like, oh my God, like why are you doing this? Like this isn't good. Like you guys, you're so young. Like I was like 16 and like that's like considered really young, even though it is like normal, but just to talk about it was just so taboo.
But I want to say something like I was your friend then. Like I you were in over your head. No one was judging you.
Yeah, that's
You
what I was
just
gonna
thought everyone
say.
was judging you. So I think it's also like something with you. Like you just thought that. But like no
But
one was
you
actually.
were different than like
That is true. That
you
is
were
true.
my friend.
Yeah, I also think in high school is a lot different. The place we grew up, people were more judgy, and it comes with maturity as people grow. I think they, like the boys at our school especially, they just grew up at a slower rate. So
Yeah, I agree.
I think honestly, our experiences, I mean, my experiences with you guys, like I feel like you guys are a little bit less comfortable talking about sex in general. Like I feel like that's a fair assumption to make. Even you who like knows and started at the same time that I did. I However, I think like we did have similar cultures of like we were in a very white Christian area, and that is another thing that is very, it's a culture that is very do not have sex until marriage.
So what do you think makes it different between ours and yours?
I don't know. I mean, it's definitely a culture thing, but it's just some type of difference. Like, I think
I think it's
people
pretty
didn't
equivalent.
embrace my like people weren't like proud of me or anything like that. Like it wasn't, I still did feel judged, and people would, you know, poke the little jokes at me, but like I don't know. I
Maybe
think
you just weren't bothered as much as we are.
yeah, I think so too. I didn't care what people said, but like I feel bad that other people would have to go through that, cuz like it could really be harmful. Like I think that it should be talked about more and embraced more, and like parents ignore it until it happens, and then it's like, okay, well, let's get birth control, now let's get this. And it should just be talked about from the beginning. Like I didn't know anything until I did it, and most people are gonna like that is how you find out for the most part, and I think that's just fine, but it shouldn't be so uncomfortable to talk about. Like I was trying to do that but within my like school and with my peers by like talking about it, but it didn't really get me anywhere because people just thought, you know, I was weird until they started doing it too, and then all of a sudden it's fine.
How do we normalize this over time?
I think, I mean, the big thing is just having conversations about it. I mean, it just starts person to person. Like,
But people are still judging you.
of course, you can't like.
But that's a
care
hard
about
ask.
that.
You have to say, oh, everyone has to be not caring about what people would think about. That's a hard ask. I'm not just talking about how like we stop it from you. I'm talking about every kid, because every kid should know more about sex when they're younger. Also,
No, I think it's first the adults' responsibility in kids' lives. And I think that's kind of how you start the normalization of it is it being like a normal conversation from teachers, parents, things like that, because I'm sure we've all had some sort of sex education that's like just horrible. Like, I don't know how y'all's was, but ours was like the most baseline, like barely understood anything. And I think that that needs to go further into detail. Like, I think it just shouldn't be, adults are crazy for assuming that kids have not done this until they have concrete proof. Like, it is crazy that we do that because we know, like, the human condition and stuff. Like, I think that it just needs to start with adults. Eventually, it'll trickle down to like you and your peers, and you should talk about it if you want to talk about it. And if people judge you, that's their problem. That's not yours.
Yeah, I really feel like it starts with like your friends though, like because adults are always going to be judgy, like you have to find friends, and especially once they start doing it too, like once all of your friends start like having sex or like those experiences, like you're going to be more comfortable talking about it. I don't know. I mean, I think adults definitely need to start doing that, but it's going to be like a long time coming because of generational like and culture stuff. Like it's not just going to happen right away.
So, how do you think, as we're kind of growing older into that new generation of parents, I guess, how do you think we're supposed to handle it?
I think that my goal as a parent is to be very open and honest with my children about um it starts with like developmentally, it starts with things like genitalia. Like we don't need to be calling a vagina hoo-ha, things like that. We don't need to be calling it a wee-wee. Like things like that is what originally starts this whole this whole stigmatization is when we make these things censored that shouldn't be censored. They're normal body parts, they're normal parts of life. Um, so that's where it starts as parents. You know, you want to be developmentally appropriate. You don't want to tell a 2-year-old that mommy and daddy had fun in the sheets and that's how they were made. Like that's, I don't know. I think that, and as you get older, you just kind of be as honest as you possibly can until it can be a normal conversation where you like just are completely honest eventually.
This might be like diverting a little bit, but it's also hard to establish that, like, oh, I know you're doing this, but it's also like, that doesn't mean I want you to be doing it. You know what I mean? It's like, I want you to be honest and tell me, but it's also like, I don't want you to be having sex at 14. Like, that's where I think the difficulty comes, like, in every generation, like, even with our parents, like, obviously it's a little less, but even if they think, oh, you have a boyfriend or you're doing this and that, like, they still don't even want to put it in our heads, because if we're not doing it, then why should they bring it up? I don't know. I think that's what it is.
Okay, I'm probably part of the problem because I just laughed a lot at Mimi. But like I'm definitely like still immature about things like this, probably because I'm not like close like I haven't experienced anything like that. So I'm just like yeah, I'm kind of the outsider, but I also think that it's because of like kind of our culture and like when we were growing up like sex was very much looked down upon, and then once you're married it's looked at as like a necessity and like something that you need to do in order
Yeah.
to like
It's a
further
big
your
jump.
yeah, it is a big jump, further your like
Family.
yeah, your family. But I think like when we're parents, I don't yeah, same thing as Gary said, like I don't want it to like I don't want them to think that I'm looking at it as such a good thing.
Yeah.
Even though like it comes with age and it comes with maturity. It should look like I don't know how to explain it, but
It's like something that's expected. I expect you to do
Yeah.
it, but like I will not enforce it. No, I will
Yeah.
not even like
Promote it.
promote it.
Encourage.
but if
encourage
you
it.
need like if you need something from me, like if you need birth control, like yes, like it's a like it's
But
nec-
how do you draw that line between I don't support it, but I don't like negate it
I think it
either?
comes from like an open parent, like just open parenting in general. Like I need to start out by parenting my child to tell me things, not like hey I'm having sex, but like hey I have a boyfriend, and then I can kind of like assume things and like take action when I need to.
I would hope that I can build a relationship with my kid where they can tell me that they're having sex just because they're going to do it regardless at whatever age they choose to. So at the very least, I will put them on birth control, but I don't think I would promote it and be like, keep having sex. I would say just be safe and let them go from there.
So this is actually like a common topic amongst like parenting, like psychologists and like family relationships therapists, things like that. Um it's it's a misconception that when you educate your child about sex, they are then more likely to pursue it, which obviously, yes, it seems like that makes sense. Don't put it in their head and they're gonna, do it. But the most likely children to have premature sex are the ones with neglectful or very permissive parents, or the ones who have parents with drug issues or addictions, or the ones who, are just overall like some type of I don't know what the word is, like not productive parenting style. So if you maintain a parenting style that's, authoritative to where you're telling your child and you have this personal relationship, but it's still established that they know right from wrong, and they can like make that decision on their own, because in the end you can never make that decision for them. Even if you want to say don't do this, you're too young, and you want to like say that, like they're still going to do whatever they want, and it has to be their decision, because even saying things like that can be so harmful, because it puts in their head that that's not their choice, and it is always like, of course you don't want anything negative to happen with your child, but as long as you build a relationship that's like positive and they feel like they can be honest with you, then it'll work out. Like things will always work out in that aspect.
To further that, I think like the more honest you are with your kids, the more honest they're going to be with you.
Yeah.
So the more open you are about these kind of things, the more they're willing to tell you that they're doing it, which they're more likely to ask you questions and have safer sex and things like that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I also think that with the internet, like your kids are gonna find out either way. Like because I personally didn't get to talk, but I knew what it was from a young age because we were all online. So I think it's better to just let them know at that point because they're not gonna be able to avoid it with like people at school and
Yeah.
phones and stuff. Like
So are you saying that you should have the talk with your kid?
I think
at a
yeah,
young
you
age?
should. And just introduce like, the smaller things when they're young and then just kind of like as they get older, let them know more about it.
I don't think it should be just one talk.
Yeah, that's what I
It
was
definitely
thinking.
needs to be like developmentally appropriate throughout
As-
your whole life.
Yeah, from birth to
Yeah.
when they're in high school.
Yeah.
So is this conversation like a sit down conversation, or does it just come naturally with jokes involved and like
I think it comes naturally,
Okay.
just over time.
Yeah, it also just depends the age and stuff, because obviously you're not going to be able to really have a sit down serious conversation with a middle schooler about it, but it could be, kind of educating on the literal things when they're younger, and then maybe there are some jokes involved. I would say, like, I don't know the science behind that, but you don't want to make it a joke. Like obviously, like you want to.
Making
But
sure it's
I'm
serious,
sh-
but not too
I'm
Yeah.
sure if like their kids in school, like there'll be jokes amongst themselves. Like
Mhm.
they'll make it as like a laughable thing, and
Yeah,
not
of
like a
course.
serious issue anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not saying like a joke that's making fun of them.
I
I'm
know, I
saying
know.
like a casual thing just to keep the conversation light.
Yeah, it should be casual. I think
Yeah.
especially with those younger kids. Maybe it gets more serious as they enter high school.
But I
things
think you
like
should
that.
just like normalize it from the start, so it doesn't have to be like a conversation. It's just something that like gets lightly brought up. Oh yeah, by the way, like this happens. Like
Yeah.
and like you were saying, like it starts off by like calling like the body parts what they are, not
Yeah.
just like child names or whatever.
Yeah.
I also think that like the angrier you get at your kid, the less likely they're gonna feel comfortable talking to you. Like you have to make sure to keep your composure
Mhm.
whenever your kid is saying something to you.
Yeah. And you also don't want to make them scared of sex. That's another thing. Like you don't want to frame it as this negative thing. If you do this, you're going to be like in trouble or you're going to get pregnant or you're going to ruin your life. Like it shouldn't be that thing because that's what causes a lot of these problems we started talking about is okay, now we're not able to separate our feelings from like a sexual connection or I think that it's just you don't want to make it negative. You don't want to make it positive, but it just needs to be like a neutral conversation. Like sex is a natural thing. It's completely okay. It's usually better when you're prepared to possibly have a child because that's, a result sometimes. And like that's just what I would recommend to you. But if you're gonna like partake in it early, then we'll have a conversation about how to do that safely.
But like I think if my kid did it, I would take it more to heart because it's like I put so much work in for your life and I want your life to be as great as it can. I don't want you to ruin it by making these mistakes when you're young. So I think like I will accidentally make it a negative thing, which is like the unfortunate part, which is like you should not be doing this because if you get pregnant, this and this will happen. Like you do not want this to be happening to you. Like
Well,
you know what
there's
I
a
mean?
way to enforce that without being negative. Like I think you just have to control your emotions towards that in a way, like find your composure before you have that conversation. Because if you raise your child in the correct way, you can present them with these facts to where they can conclude the best decision for themselves. And if they can't do that, then they're not a good, person anyways. So
I agree. I think that if I was talking to my kid, it would come off as negative, not because I'm like looking down upon it, but because I'm so scared and it's
yeah.
like so much fear behind it.
Yeah, I would say you definitely want to try to be as neutral as you can because they should be able to look at the facts and make that decision for themselves. Because then again, you don't want to have them scared of disappointing you or, they don't want to associate sex with like only this negative thing because it just becomes a whole bigger issue for them in their adult life.
So to wrap this all up, how did your understanding of intimacy change as you got older?
I think that as I got older, it was like a big jump because I went from nothing to like a lot at once. And so it was a big adjustment. I didn't really know how to handle it until I was able to just talk to my friends who were also kind of experiencing it at the same time as me. And then I got more comfortable with it.
Um, my understanding of intimacy, I think, has changed a lot since I went to college, honestly. Obviously, like I was having sex in high school. But intimacy to me then meant only sex, and I think now it's a lot more, especially like just learning about that in classes. Like that's why I stress so strongly that um being connected, sex is a part of being connected to your partner. So not to say that it has to be in a relationship, like a lot of people who are waiting for marriage or whatever, that's great. But I do think it's like a big part of something that connects you and that's what makes you intimate with your partner, not necessarily the act is the intimacy itself. Um, I think that it's just overall like being able to be fully yourself and fully comfortable with a partner is being intimate. And I think before it wasn't as serious as that, but I think as you grow older and you mature, you learn that like it's really like something you have to fully give yourself in to this partner and like if you're not doing that, it's not going to be the most satisfactory for you.
I also think that as I've gotten older, I've realized that like the casual stuff like doesn't work for me, and I think that like I need to have more emotional connection going into it, and then it's better.
I also think that it's important to have emotional intimacy and physical intimacy. And I've learned that like intimacy isn't just for like a loved like
Like a love
Yeah.
swing or something.
yeah,
Like
like
romantic.
it doesn't have to be a romantic thing.
Yeah.
Like you can be intimate with your friends, but it's just a different type of intimacy. But I think sex definitely does bring more intimacy into a relationship.
Yeah,
that makes
intimacy in itself like is just being close and open with someone. It doesn't include sex in its definition, obviously, but it's just like sex is a way to become more intimate, and you have to be connected in order to have that.
Okay, well, thank you guys so much for
Giving your opinions.
on Sexy Time.
SexPerts.
Of course.
We loved having you.
We got the best through
Thank
SexPerts.
Bye, guys.
Okay, now we're gonna wrap things up for you guys. We got one last topic.
And it's beware, it's a cheesy one.
Good one. It's actually cheese. We're gonna be listing our top 3 cheeses right now. Yes, we have the Sexpert back.
Hi, I like Gouda and pepper jack and Parmesan. That's Katie, by the way.
That's a very good top 3.
Those are good. Okay, I'll go first. Or I'll go second. Oh, when I go to like, I don't really eat cheese like plain like that, like, cause it just like messes with my like stomach. So like when I eat it in a sandwich, my first choice is always pepper jack because it's a little bit spicy, it's a little bit good. When I was younger, I used to get a lot of provolone, which a lot of people wouldn't really agree with that, but you know, guys, don't
eats that?
don't
Is that the one with holes?
No, that's Swiss.
Oh my god, both of them are weird.
provolone is just
Swiss is
really
okay.
provolone is really like
No, I love
melty.
Swiss.
It's really melty. Okay, did you guys hear me that it's really
Yeah,
melty?
it's melty.
Yeah, it's really melty, especially in like Subway sandwiches. Like when you pull it apart, like oh my god, like
No,
cheese
no,
pull.
no, no, no.
And then my last one is, I'm not really a cheesebert, so
Really?
my
I
last
think you are.
my last one
Don't you
is
love eating?
Don't you love binge eating?
okay. My last one is mozzarella, just plain mozzarella because you can eat it on pizza, on pasta, on literally anything that you want. Isha's on Grubhub right
Isha,
now.
why are you ordering
Isha.
food, you fatty?
Yeah.
You guys just got me thinking.
Okay, Isha,
So
no.
now I'm gonna go with my favorite cheeses. I think I'm pretty basic. I will say in a sandwich I always get pepper jack because I like the spice
Yeah.
that can get
Mhm.
into it.
Agree.
But in the Brugger's bagels that we would get last year, I would get Swiss since our options were like American
Yeah.
cheddar and
Same.
Swiss.
Why not cheddar?
I would pick
I'm
I
not-
don't
I
like
don't
cheddar
like
at
cheddar.
all.
I don't like
I also would pick
Cheez-Its.
Swiss.
I don't like. So I would say pepper jack is first, and then I would go to mozzarella, and then lastly I would go with Parmesan. But Parmesan has pig in it, and I'm vegetarian. So recently I've been kind of pawning off of it. But yeah.
Okay, my top 3 cheeses. I love like strong cheeses. Like they're very flavorful, which is why I don't like the American, Swiss, provolone. Like they don't have much flavor when you actually like bite into them. Like melted, that's a different story. But okay, my top 3 are goat.
I'm so sorry. I don't want to cut you off. But who is just biting into cheese like that?
Bro, what?
That's a thing?
Like on a charcuterie board?
Oh, okay. Like that's
Like
cheese and
cheese
crackers.
and crackers.
Yeah, I'm talking about any cheese
Like
that's
that.
not
Okay,
melted.
I'm sorry.
Like,
Oh,
what's-
brie. Fuck. Okay, sorry.
Oh my god, fumble. Anyways, I like very strong cheddar cheese,
Okay.
like the most orange like cheddar cheese.
Like who got the cheese, right?
Yeah, that part. Then I love goat cheese, and then I love Parmesan. Like all these are very strong cheeses.
Okay.
Except I think blue cheese is pulling it a little too much.
Okay.
Like, that's just like sour, but I'd like more sour cheeses. Like Parmesan sour, goat cheese is sour.
One thing I will say is that okay, you really should not like cheese.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh,
he's
yeah.
extremely lactose intolerant.
That's why I said I don't eat
Extreme.
cheese like that.
But
But
you
you
do.
do. But
What?
you do.
No,
The
I
problem
don't.
is that you do.
All right, Gary, we didn't hear your top 3.
I'm so sorry. I don't mean to be basic, but Isha did steal all 3 of mine. I don't have a specific order. I think they just both have, all 3 of them have different like scenarios to be. So for the 3 were like Parmesan, which is really good in like
obviously all like Italian food just to like sprinkle on top. It's always good. And then I like mozzarella and sandwiches and like just to eat it with like tomatoes and like anything with like pesto type and like things like that. And then the last one was pepper jack, also for like what everyone else was saying, like just a spicy one for like this the sandwiches. And yeah, we also both got the Swiss on the burgers, which was also good. But I
I'm
don't
not gonna
have
lie.
I haven't eaten Swiss other than that, so I don't know if it's really up there.
Parmesan doesn't really taste like anything. Like you put it on pasta, I can't taste the difference.
Melt it.
I can.
Melt it.
No, even unmelted I can taste it. I like it unmelted.
Yeah, it's like a sour. Anyways,
It's, like,
thank you guys so
salty
much
and,
for
like-
listening. I really hope you guys got some good insight from our SexPerts and from our obvious conversations. We will see you again next week.
Bye.